A very warm welcome to IDFC First Bank presents Leaders of Tomorrow Season 14. I'm Ritwika Gupta. Tonight we've put together a sharp macro conversation on India's tech future and leadership in an age of disruption. In an exclusive conversation with CP Gurnani, co-founder and Vice Chairman AIONOS. Mr. Gurnani, welcome to ET Now Leaders of Tomorrow. It's a pleasure to be chatting with you today.
Thank you for A, being flexible, and B, having me on this 14th edition of your bumper big show of connecting with the audiences all over India.
Thank you so much. And in our 14th season, the theme for the show this season is Emerging Businesses, the India Advantage. India's digital public infrastructure, it is being studied globally, whether we talk about the UPI, ONDC, Aadhaar. I want to ask your take on this. Do you think this can become India's strategic advantage, equivalent of what perhaps manufacturing became for China?
Government of India seems to be ahead of all of us.
Okay.
They have already signed MOUs with 24 countries. When you go to some of these countries, some are adopting the full stack, some will adopt the full stack, and there are MOUs out there. And I think the digital public infrastructure is probably going to be the best export India has ever had. What we are seeing is also DPI being adopted by the countries. I know that, not only these 24 countries, for example, I'm visiting Indonesia later this week, and I'm meeting the ambassador there, Mr. Chakravarti. His Excellency's one point and the agenda is how do we work with the Indonesian government to get the digital public infrastructure. So I think it is the best export. Number B is that it is a long-term advantage.
Right.
Because China is equal to manufacturing. The reality is the manufacturing is shifting. The manufacturing is shifting to Vietnam, manufacturing is shifting to Thailand. Some part of it, the manufacturing is also shifting to India. So I would consider this because it has got people, lifestyle, and data integrated into the service. And hence, I am a big believer it's a great move.
Fantastic. Now, globalization as we know it, I think the definition of globalization has changed. As we speak, there are wars happening, supply chain disruptions, trade routes are under stress. I want to know, how can India maintain its economic position and also in terms of technology amidst so much geopolitical uncertainty?
There is nothing without technology. Our largest import bill is fuel.
Right.
Right? It doesn't matter whether we are talking about crude oil or whether you're talking about the natural gas. India has some of the largest reserves of coal. Today's technology can be done to create sustainable coal gasification.
Okay.
Right. So for me, it is technology. It is not about just having bits and bytes out there. And number two is when our second largest import bill is all those chemicals like urea or ammonia or whatever. Where do they come from? Number third, aviation fuel. We are only talking about ethanol. I think we should be now talking about sustainable aviation fuel. The point I'm making is technology, sustainability, and India's import bills, they all can be interrelated, and we could have a common program for it.
Sure.
So, yes, geopolitical is a wake-up call. It's a rude wake-up call at times, but then I think India has responded. India will respond, and the faster we do it, and I think we are taking this into account, hopefully we will move up the value chain even more.
Right. So there's opportunity and uncertainty always. Nice. I want to talk about India's IT industry. It aims to become a $750 billion industry in the next decade or so. How realistic do you think this ambition is?
I'm one of those who is always an optimist, who is always looks at the glass half full. So for me, that a base of almost $280 billion and for us to grow to 750 is the same way there were enough naysayers in this world when Prime Minister Modi said we will become a $5 trillion economy.
Right.
Today we have all started believing in it. So my belief is that if 5 trillion is real, which we all believe in, then $750 billion is also real. So that's
Sure.
number one. Number two is we have to break it up. We have to break it up on what will make $750 billion. Will it be embracing AI? Will it be creating more infrastructure, AI infrastructure within India? I think we have started making the right moves. Number two, in my opinion, is that MSMEs will contribute a lot more to the Indian IT story because they have to become competitive.
Sure.
They have to become smarter. And there's no way India will create jobs without engaging with 100 million plus MSMEs in India.
Right.
Number third is that people like us, who are AI native companies, will invest into IP. And when we invest into IPs, we are moving up the value chain. And that's what we have done at AIONOS, that we have invested in IP. In the last 2 years, I already have 4 or 5 product frameworks that I'm very proud of because they are built for the global markets. Last but not the least, you've seen the VC spending now. The VC spending, the first 100 unicorns that we had were mostly on marketplaces. Now what we are seeing is the wave where there is more cybersecurity, more deep tech kind of investment happening. And I think that will create better value. So yes, 750 billion is doable, but it will not happen by just say doing more GCCs. It will also happen is when the state governments participate with the Indian IT sector in creating better waves at MSME level.
Sure. Now, India's technological story, it's been built on cost advantage and outsourcing. But, speaking of AI, it is automating a lot of jobs these days. How should India relook at employment, and especially because there are 10 to 12 million people entering the workforce every year?
Which part am I participating in the AI wave? If I break up a typical AI, let us say it's $100 solution, about $30 will go to the infrastructure. Today, I do not play anything in infrastructure. That means whether it is an LLM or whether it is any of those foundational layers.
Sure.
I play a role in the next $30, which is data to machine learning to being able to customize for an application. But the third most important part is if I build applications and if I'm able to suit applications, we will have to go for volumes on somebody else's technology and we will have to build our own technology and scale it up for the global levels.
Fantastic. Speaking of India's startup ecosystem, now we are one of the largest startup ecosystems in the world with over, I think, 100 unicorns right now. Do you see many startups emerging from deep tech and AI sectors now?
It just started. I think there is still a long way to go. To me, Israel, which is a much smaller nation, I mean, we are 1.4 billion, they are 10 million.
Right.
Number of startups they list on the technology and deep tech side is much higher. And I believe there is a reason for it. The reason for it is the amount of money that we spend in research and innovation, number one. Number two is their defense and government departments are very integrated with the private sector. Today, whatever I build, I mean, it's not that I go and first sell to the defense. I'll try and find a customer somewhere overseas.
Yeah.
I think unless we change our way we work, the way we think, and the way we nurture, though they are good examples, so don't get me wrong. So I visit IIT Madras. When I see their research foundation out there and the work that they are doing, and the way they are embracing the ecosystem, IIT Bombay, some of the finest. Similarly, the ANRF, is building, but I think we need 100x of ANRF, we need 100x of IIT Mumbai and IIT Kanpur kind of work, because there is a lot more to be done, and India is not limited to only these few institutions.
Sure.
The faster we accelerate it and the faster we are able to involve government agencies, I would be the happiest when I hear that our defense import bill is reduced by 20% every year.
Sure.
I mean, there's no reason why we should be importing technology from different parts of the world.
No, absolutely. So you spoke about MSMEs earlier, and I want to ask you, how prepared are MSMEs for this transition? Because is AI technology, is it going to widen the gap between larger companies and smaller businesses?
3 sectors I wish we could do a lot more. One is MSME, one is agriculture, and one is healthcare.
Sure.
And there is a desire that we should do a lot more, because we have to make those MSMEs effective. That's the backbone of India. If my MSME productivity goes up or efficiency goes up by 20%, they will become 20% more cost competitive.
Yeah.
And if they're cost competitive, otherwise we used to do in government, they'll give you some 10% price advantage, then they withdraw it whenever they feel like.
Right.
So I think there is a lot more work to be done.
When it comes to AI investment, I believe China and US, continue to lead the AI investment game. Where do you think India realistically stands, in the global tech power structure today?
Ministry of IT, Ashwini Vaishnav and the team, I think they did a phenomenal job when they did the February conference.
Right.
And the reason I believe they did a phenomenal job is there are 3 parts to it. Number one, they educated everyone that it is not that India is not running the infrastructure race. That the quantum mission or the semiconductor mission. Number 2 is that it brought the focus back that the world talks about the 100 million jobs that will be lost.
Yeah.
Nobody talks about the 200 million jobs that will be created. So when you don't talk about the jobs being created, you are not ready for that talent. I think India is now getting ready for that. The third part is India's advantage has always been applications. We decided to focus on TTLH because our partner had a largest airline. They were also into hotels. The TTLH is the travel, transportation, logistics, and hospitality. Now, in that suite, if I am the best in the world, then I think I have a legitimate focus on the dining table. I mean, I would be able to get a boardroom attention.
Sure.
So let's build for scale. Let's be bold.
Mr. Gurnani, you have worked with people across multiple generations, across multiple tech cycles, if I may say. And if I were to ask you, what is the difference between the younger generation and the older generation in terms of how they approach technology and risk, what would that be?
Difficult question to answer because I refuse to believe that I'm old.
Not at all.
So, and similarly, there is technology has always had, it doesn't matter whether you are an old or young, has always had a series of early adopters. Mm-hmm. Obviously, the early adopters in a younger generation will be much, much higher.
Sure.
I mean, you can't take away the fact that the toddler that you see starts playing with an iPad.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, so you can't take it away that they are born into technology. Yeah. So, the difference for me is curiosity. The difference to me is, am I scared of getting into the technology? And that is where the biggest challenge is. It's the same way that, when you put a toddler into a swimming pool, he doesn't know what he's getting into, so he just gets in. And then obviously he learns swimming much faster.
Absolutely.
Similarly, an older generation guy, I mean, half the time, so he doesn't want to step out of the 3 feet area.
That's true.
So I think that's not only applicable to technology, it is dependent on individuals.
Sure.
But clearly the percentage of youngsters, experimenting would always be much higher. I mean, it's the same way. Which is the best the example of technology being used on a day-to-day basis? The best examples are, for example, if you land in San Francisco, Uber gives you a choice.
Right.
Will you take a driverless car or will you take a driver car? I mean, I have had colleagues saying, though driverless car is cheaper, but they would rather take driver car. Not because it is just that fear of unknown.
Right.
And similarly, you look at, kids.
Yeah.
I go to these universities. Oh, what were you doing? What time did you get up? It is like I got up at, I did not even go to sleep. What do you mean by what time did you get up? And what were you doing? They were doing video gaming. And you go and see their consoles. I mean, I promise you that none of you guys in the media industry have, have that powerful computers or that powerful sound systems or the earphones that these guys use in their for gaming.
Sure. No, absolutely. And I think we've come a long way from people who used to fear the internet, the computer, to people who are now okay to be driven by, driverless cars. We've come a long way, definitely. And I think while experience is key, I think adaptability is also equally important. So do you think the definition of, staying relevant, it is becoming more and more important? Perhaps the definition of leadership, is that also evolving?
As I said, staying relevant has now become easy. I mean, that if your own business, if you wanted to do a content or you wanted to do your research, I mean, you had to start a few days ahead.
Sure, yeah.
Now you could start in the morning and be ready for a 9 a.m. meeting. Right? So, to me, staying relevant is no longer important. God has given you the tools today to stay relevant. If you don't, then you are left behind anyway.
True.
I think what is more important is that level beyond. Keeping that curiosity factor high. Being consistent with your curiosity. And then only you can stay ahead.
Right.
Because if you're not curious and if you're not anticipating the next wave, I mean, it's the same way that one guy will read a mythos of Anthropic is going to change the world, and the other guy will go and do research on how mythos will actually change or not change.
True, absolutely. And finally, sir, as we are wrapping up this wonderful conversation, tell us, what perhaps excites you about the future of technology and what perhaps quietly worries you?
So, clearly technology excites me, and it has been part of my life for the last whatever number of years, but 45 years in business profession. The best part of technology is that the people that I meet and I discussed, there are different solutions. For example, I would be meeting Ronnie Screwvala tomorrow morning. With Ronnie Screwvala, the discussion is all about education being the equalizer.
Right.
Right, I mean, or if I meet Black Box this afternoon, it will be all about the data centers. The money being spent on data centers is $600 billion. I mean, how do you create the next generation of cooling, next generation of reworks of data centers? So the point is that alternate thinking or critical thinking and learning technology will always excite me.
Right.
Silently, what worries me, if it worries me, I'll fix it. I mean, I'm that kind of a guy. So it's not that I will continue to remain worried about it, but India has always done well when it has been hungry.
Sure.
Sometimes when I now talk to the younger generation, that feeling of entitlement, and I'll give you an example. Engineering schools have started complaining that their placement is reduced to, let us say, 65%.
Sure.
Now, then I said, all right, So one of the, private institutions which asked me for advice, and I said, listen, maybe they are not. So why don't they go and work free for companies? Why don't you advertise that your 35% are willing to work for free? They will do on-the-job training. He said, oh, they will not go. They have a minimum expectation. And I said, listen, that's not the way we grew up. When we grew up, is that old saying, the job satisfaction was that you have a satisfaction that you have a job.
Right.
Now you start putting all these circles around it, then how will you learn? Then you're basically saying, I am entitled to X salary and I am entitled to a car allowance. So silent worry is that, like in sports, when you identify a talent, that talent would be hungry. When we all talk about today's Vaibhav Suryavanshi, we forget what the parents would have gone through to drive this young kid 100 kilometers a day to get him the right coaching and training.
Absolutely.
So that point is that you don't become a Vaibhav Suryavanshi without going through this process of changing, the process of transforming, the process of taking a few bold steps, sitting and waiting for that job to happen. And then the third day, the news item will be, oh, the unemployed engineer decides to open a sabji ka stall. I mean, to me, that is what worries me.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Gurnani, for your time. This was a lovely conversation. Thank you so much.
Ciao, Ritwika. Thank you again. Thank you so much.
And with that, it's a wrap on this edition of IDFC First Bank Presents Leaders of Tomorrow Season 14. We hope you enjoyed the conversation. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.